for the first question here, so 45% is paid by Abdullah and then Jasmine pay the rest. So 100% minus 45%, you will left a balance of 55%, and then you take 9,000 times 55%, you will get your final results as 4,950. Write down the ratio of payment, so you just write 45% to 55%. You should get your results as 9 to 11. For section B, last year it cost 2,256, okay, being breakdown to the ratio 8, 3 and 1. So calculate each amount paid to run the car. Okay, so the total ratio here is by taking 8 plus 3 plus 1, you will get your final results as 12. So Abdullah equals to 2,256 times 8 divided by 12, you will get your results as 1,504. For Jasmine, repeat the same, just change the specific ratio to 3. Then you will get 564. Then for Henry, simply change the specific ratio to 1. Then you will get 188. Section C, okay, keyword here is 23% of its value each year. So this is trying to hint you that it is a compounding, where they consider the loss, then only they run the calculation. So you're required to take 15,000 times 100% minus 23% to the power of 3. So final results should be 6,847.995. And after you round it to 3 significant figures, you should get your results as 6,850. Section 2, calculate overall percentage loss of the truck value after 3 years. So original value is 15,000 minus 6,850 divide by 15,000 again. So you calculate that it loses 54.3% of its value after 3 years. Question 2, part A. Okay, so the keyword here for this particular question is integer value. So you're required to break these inequalities into two equations that goes by -3 less than 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1 less than equals to 6. So after you run the calculation, you will get x more than -1 less than equals to 3.5, and the integer value between this particular range will be 0, 1, 2 and 3. Section B, to simplify this, first you have to factorize the numerator. Okay, x squared is actually x times x, 10 is actually 5 times 2. You cross multiply them, you get 5x and 2x. You're required to use this 2 value to fulfill the center requirement of positive 3x. Hence, I put plus 5x minus 2x. Then I break it down into 2 brackets that goes by x plus 5, x minus 2. Whereby for the denominator, x squared minus 25 can be changed into x squared minus 5 squared. So when square minus square, okay, you can break it down into x minus 5 and x plus 5. Since x plus 5 is repeating here, get rid of it. You will get your results as x minus 2 and x minus 5. For section C, number 1, okay, basically what I did here is to change the left-hand side's equation into the same denominator, which is x plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, then to get rid of the denominator, I cross-multiplied them to the other side. You get a balance of x, 7x minus 1 equals to 3, bracket, x squared minus 2x minus 3. After the rearrangement, you will get a final results as requested by the question, 3x squared minus 13x minus 8 equals to 0. Whereby for section 2, okay, this one we're actually required to use quadratic formula, as the hint has been given 2 decimal places. So A is actually 3, B is negative 13, C is negative 8. So by substituting it to the equation, negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, you will run your calculation and get the final results as 4.88 and negative 0.5. In question 3, okay, to calculate the model class, you have to look at which group has the highest frequency count. So it will be h less than equals to 1.7, more than 1.6. But for you to calculate the mean height, first you need to calculate the midpoint of the interval. So it is 1.35, 1.45, 1.55, 1.65, 1.75, and 1.85 respectively. So you multiply it by its respective frequency, then divide by the total that was given by the sentence, 120 girls. You get your mean height as 1.62 after correcting it to 3 significant figures. As for part B number 1, they wanted the girl, okay, chosen has more than 1.8 meters. So those who have more than 1.8 meters is 6 out of 120, which after you simplify will be 1 over 20. But for the next one, keyword here is chosen are 1.8 meters or less. So you're required to take 120 minus 6, you will get 114, okay, over 120. This is the probability of selecting one girl. However, the question mentioned about both. So the next girl, since you already selected one out of it, you're only left with 113 over 119. Multiply these two out, you get your final results after correcting it to 3 significant figures as 0.902. Section C number 1, okay, through your frequency table at section 3, you can now calculate the cumulative frequency. So for h less than equals to 1.7, it will be 50 plus 45, which is 95. Whereby for h less than equals to 1.9, this one will be 114 plus 6, which is 120. With this information, we can now proceed and draw down this cumulative frequency graph over here. And the median height is actually this 120 times 50%, or just 120 divided by 2. You get 60th. So 60th, you trace it back through the graph, you get 1.62 as the median height. 30th percentile means 120 times 30%, you get 36. 36, you trace it back, the height will actually be 1.56 meters. For question 4, okay, they wanted you to show that the radius of the circular top is 4.5. Okay, so we have the height of 20 and we have the smaller cone with height of 20 minus 8, which is 12. The other thing is that we have the small cone's radius already, and the big cone's radius will be our unknown here. So r over 20 equals to 2.7 over 12. Run the calculation, you shouldn't have any problem to prove that the radius of the circular top is 4.5. Section 2, big volume minus small volume. So 1 over 3 times pi times 4 over 4.5 squared times 20 minus 1 over 3 times pi times 2.7 squared times 12. After correct your answer to 3 significant figures, you will get your results as 333 centimeter cube. As for part B number 1, show that the slant height of the cup is 8.2. Okay, so things that I did here was to first calculate the slant height of the bigger cone, okay, by taking 20 square plus 4.5 square and square root the results, which is 20.5. Whereby for the smaller cone, it will be square root of 12 square plus 2.7 square, which is 12.3. So the difference here should be 8.2. How do I know that? Is identify this through our Pythagoras theorem. Section 2, okay, calculate the curved surface area. So based on what we gotten, we can now take pi times 4.5 times 20.5, this is for your bigger cone, minus the small one, which is pi times 2.7 times 12.3. After correcting it to three significant figures, you get your final results as 185. Question 5. Okay, so you substitute the x equals to -2, 0, and 3 into the function, and you get the function results as 1, -1, and 3.5 respectively. With this coordinate, you can now trace it back and draw down the following graph. So for section C, number 1, solve that your function results as 0.5. So when your y is 0.5, you will have 3 intersection points, which is -2.1, -0.55, and 2.7. So your answer may be slightly different from mine because our curve might not be the same. However, as long as your answer falls within the acceptable range in your marking scheme, you shouldn't have any issue to secure your marks. Section 2, find the inequalities for k such that k has only one answer. So as you can see, there's a curve here. So anything beyond the curve, it will have one result only, and anything underneath the curve, you will have one result as well. So when k less than -4, you have one result only, and when k is more than 2, you will have one result only as well. On the same grid, draw the graph y equals to 3x minus 2. So I set down when x equals to 1 and when x equals to 2, I will have y's coordinate as 1 and 4. With that being said, we can now draw down a line as shown over here. In section 2, can be written in the form x cubed plus ax plus b. This one is basically you're required to make all of them, okay, into a format that is without denominator. So first thing that I did was to change everything on the left hand side into a denominator of 2. So I multiply 2 into 3x and 1, I get x cubed minus 6x minus 2 over 2 equals to 3x minus 2. Cross multiply them, you get your final results as x cubed minus 12x plus 2 equals to 0. So your a will be -12 and your b will be 2. Use your graph and find the positive answer. Okay, so the intersection point here will be 0.15 and 0.35. Okay, the intersection is actually the line that we draw with the curve. For section 6, show that your length of the road AC is 135 meters. So through cosine rule, you are able to identify that and prove this following question. Okay, by substituting 120, 95, and 77 degree into the right place. Calculate the size of the obtuse angle ABC. Okay, through sine rule, we are able to trace back that ABC is actually 48.5. However, this 48.5 doesn't qualify as an obtuse angle, as you are required to have more than 90, less than 180. So 180 minus whatever your results that you've gotten, and correcting it to three significant figures, you should get your results as 131. Question C, a straight path is to build from B to the nearest point of AC. Okay, so after I fill out the information that I've gotten, okay, we have 79 as AB's distance. Okay, from B point, I trace it back, I form a right angle triangle. Okay, so we have 23 degree and we have AB as its hypotenuse. The distance of this path is actually the opposite. So sine 23 equals to opposite over hypotenuse. After the calculation, you should get your opposite as 29.3. Question D, area of ACD. This one, we are just using half AB sine C. Okay, so half times 120 times 95 times sine 77. Okay, then divide it by 180 meters square to calculate how many houses we can build. So it will be 30 houses. You're required to round down the results for this because there's no 30.8 houses. Question 7, triangle A to triangle B. This one is actually a reflection from the line y equals to -2. For A to C, however, is actually a enlargement from the point 1, 4 with a scale factor of 1/2. As for A to D, this is a rotation of 90 degrees clockwise from the point 1, -3. Section B and C, you're only required to do B number 1, where it is a translation and are labeled in the graph as B image. The rest is actually from a topic called Sears. However, this topic was being removed from the syllabus since 2015. So no worries if you are unable to solve this particular part. Question 14, okay. X less than equals to 5. Okay, this one is actually there is a maximum of 5 large coaches. Okay, but for the next one, it's actually from 50 X, which is 50 students can be bring by large coaches, and 30 students can be bring by small coaches. So we have 50X plus 30Y more than equals to 300. So based on these inequalities that we have gotten, we can now proceed and draw down the following line. So as usual, I first trace down the horizontal and vertical line. So X less than equals to 5. I draw a solid line and point the direction towards the left hand side. But for the next one, which is the equation given by the question, X plus Y less than equals to 10. Okay, I set down a couple of points. When X is 0, Y is 10. When Y is 0, X is 10. I draw down a solid line over there and I label it is less than, so it's towards the bottom left hand corner. But for the next one, 5x plus 3y more than equals to 30. This one, since they mention about more than, after I draw down the box, okay, when x equals to 3, when x equals to 0, when x equals to 6, I'm able to form the last line here, and the direction is towards the left hand side. Okay, so the center triangle over there will be your region, and then you shade off the rest. Section C, number 1, find the numbers of large coaches and numbers of small coaches that would give the minimum higher cost for this school trip. It will be 5, 2, and the total cost will amount to 2,950. Question 9a, write 126 as a product of prime factors. So 2, 3, 7, 3 will be your results. Okay. However, the 3 there, you can actually write it as 2 times 3 squared times 7. In section 2, HCF here, you are required to stop after you don't have common factor. So we have 2, 3, 3. 2 times 3 times 3 will result in 18. Find the LCM of 72 and 126. This one will be 2 times 3 times 3 times 4 times 7. You will get your final results as 504. As for the last part for this particular section, keyword here is nearest centimeters. Hence, the rounding value, okay, will actually be 1/2. So equation that was being used here is 2r, which is 2 radius equals to diameter, and 2 pi r equals to their circumference. So for you to get the lower bound for pi, it should be circumference divided by 2r, okay, which is your diameter. So your circumference needs to be lower, and then denominator need to be higher so that you can get the smallest possible outcome. So it'll be 104.5 divided by 34.5. Then you will get your final results as 3.029, as the question mentioned about 3 decimal place. The volume of a cylinder is 550 cm cube, corrected to nearest 10 cm cube. So the rounding value for this will be 10 divided by 2, which is plus minus 5. However, for the next one, the height of the can is 12, corrected to nearest centimeters. So 1 divided by 2, which is plus minus 0.5. Things to take note is that the formulas goes by pi times r squared times h equals the volume of the cylinder. So for you to find the upper bound for the radius, we are required to take volume of the cylinder, divide by pi times height, and then square root it. Okay, so to get the highest possible outcome, my numerator need to be bigger, since I took 550 plus 5, and my denominator need to be smaller, so I took pi times 12 minus 0.5. My final results after square rooting it, okay, and correcting it to 3 decimal place, it should be 3.919. That's pretty much it for this paper. I hope you find it helpful. If you have friends that are struggling, feel free to share this paper to them, and I wish you all the best for your upcoming examination. Thank you.